This is Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media, where we talk about basically anything we want. And here are your hosts, Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. Back.
We're back, man. Good to be back.
What was that, like 8 weeks or something like that? That was a long time.
It's been a minute.
It's been so long, I probably don't even have anybody listening anymore.
Yeah, they'll come back.
Yeah,
They'll come back.
Well, for anyone that's going to be joining us here, this is Ryan and I. This is Overtime, and this is our 20th episode. So not as many episodes as it could have been, but hey, we're a little bit away from a year here, and we're nearing 1,000 downloads on our podcast, man.
There we go.
Awesome. So that's cool.
Awesome.
So Ryan, we both had a few little life events here over the last month and a half or so. So tell us about this new ranching thing that you're getting into here.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got my hands in a bunch of different pies, and I was approached. I was meeting with a rancher. I've been curious about kind of getting in the ranching space on some level. Obviously, I'm not a rancher, and so I met with this guy and. Had a good conversation. He goes, this is maybe an area that you could enter.
FYI, you don't look like a rancher either. So.
No, I'm not a rancher.
Yeah,
I'm not a rancher,
true.
definitely not a rancher. And so he asked where, we kind of went through some stuff. He goes, this might be a good spot for you to enter. I was like, okay, this is, I can see this working for what I want to do. And actually talked to another rancher. And essentially right now, all my kind of space in the business is I'm getting ready to invest in one ranch, but then generally speaking, all I'm doing is pushing kind of the farm to table type aspect, which is, whole, half, quarter beef. We have some goat, pig as well. Pushing down the market for people, and so it's like a full-time gig or anything, but it's something that just keeps me busy.
Hey man, that's awesome. What I like about what you have going on there is you're in the farm to table part of it, and it's kind of like when you see the work that goes into that kind of stuff, from this side of it, you never really actually respect it till your hands deep into it. So I can imagine, can imagine the so growing up, so that would have been I got 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Myself, brother, sister, we all kind of grew up doing the same thing with the with the pigs and the cows and the goats and stuff like that. But we spent more time working with venison and stuff like that whenever we were growing up than we did anything else. But hey, we enjoyed it as kids growing up. Now when you look back at it, you say, well, it's probably pretty good that I learned how to do that kind of stuff as a kid. It just automatically comes back, right? And so we had we'll talk about it a little bit later on in the show, man. But we had an excellent fishing trip here a couple of days back. So we'll share some photos and some other stuff. But
I had a good fishing trip while we're going too. I should have brought my photos.
Man, I tell you, I was stoked about that trip. I've been wanting to do one for a while with the boys, and finally got a way to do one. So
yeah, I'd rather be fishing just about every day of the week.
Hey, when you can go out and when you can catch fish like that, it makes it it makes it worth it. 100% worth it.
Where'd y'all go?
Galveston, man.
Okay.
Yeah, we went about 60 miles out. It was great.
Y'all went deep sea. Okay.
Oh, had a good time.
Okay, we went and did some red and trout fishing. I haven't been deep sea fishing in years. That's awesome.
All right, so we'll get into our little rundown there. So we'll talk about always our favorite subject there, the oil prices. One thing I was just wanted to briefly bring up was this renewable diesel. It's kind of interesting to me, and as well as some of the costs going into some of the refinery changeovers and everything else. But I think it's worth mentioning. Then we'll talk a little bit about the rig counts. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Then we'll jump off of it and go to Jake and Tyron, the USFL Relaunch. We'll talk a little bit about some fishing. We also made a visit to the Comicpalooza here last weekend. And there was an article came out about how many other heroes could have actually beaten Thanos, which I thought was quite interesting. And we'll finish our show off with some chaps being duct taped to a helicopter. So yeah, let's just get right over into it, man. So for our crude, we're at 73.79, and for the Brent, let's see here. Oh, sorry, 71.48 for the crude, and for the Brent, it's 73.39. So I guess just a couple of things right off the top to mention was the rise from API last week, as well as EIA. API called it 800,000 barrels ending July 16th for the week, and EIA called it 600,000 barrels. So regardless what side of the table they were on, there was a rise. So, I mean, and then now that we're kind of in full swing of summer travel stateside and Asia with the fresh new travel restrictions, and what about the rest of the world, Ryan? I mean, I know the UK is now wide open, but what do you think some of the other kind of things there that may be affecting it?
It feels like every time you think we're going to move forward, we kind of have these resurgence of potential, new lockdowns or travel restrictions or vaccine passports or whatever it might be. And, I don't know how, if you're an American right now, would you go to Europe until you're clear on what the rules are going to be? And the answer is no, unless it's business and you have to. You're just not going to go there for vacation. I mean, I guess there's some, people who, maybe between jobs and don't have to get back anytime soon. But if you have a normal lifestyle, right, you can't risk going overseas right now. And so
that's right. You may get stuck. I mean, it's any moment of the day. Yeah, for sure.
And so you're seeing that the traffic is picking up, especially European travel is picking up. They kind of have a good read on that. But the big thing about jet fuel demand is the longer flights, the big long international flights, and those they're not back yet, and they won't be back until we determine what's going to happen. To your point, the UK is talking about going back into some more. I don't know what the right term is. It's not vaccine passport, but some kind of new requirement. So, yeah, until it's worked out, I don't know. And despite that, oil prices are doing good. So,
yeah, I mean, I did see that. Well, it was interesting. The Cushing showed a decline of 3.6 million barrels for the same week. So, I did see that Big Oren mentioned a few things on Twitter there that could have possibly, kind of indicate what the decline was showing. He said there were kind of 4 things there. By the way, shout out to Big Oren on Twitter. If you haven't followed him yet, then check him out. It's BIG_ORRIN on Twitter. He's saying that the first point there, barrels sold moved because of the backwardation. So honestly, I didn't know there was such a word. He taught me up on this one, but the backwardation. But number 2, producers getting better prices elsewhere, so low volume sent to Cushing's. Number 3, trying to force WTI price up, and number 4, low imports means refineries buying grades they want. So, so I was looking at number 3 and number 4 there as kind of being what I was thinking was probably a little bit stronger than the first 2. But I mean, again, producers getting better prices elsewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Big Orange, he's the oil wizard. So I
kind
of just whatever he says is kind of take it. And say, yeah, sure.
Man, I like. I'm digging number 3 and number 4 on that list for sure. The first 2, again, there was a word in the first one I didn't know, so I automatically moved that one to the side. The second one was the second one didn't ring with me, but yeah, number 3 and number 4, I'm all about that. But yeah, I don't know. I know that with the back to the table agreement kind of thing with OPEC Plus here, a week and a half ago, kind of moved things around a bit. But I did see where where Saudi said that they would get every last molecule. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. It's the market is it's in a spot where I think OPEC's. If you follow Nas Al-Haji, he talks about kind of this sweet spot, and I don't have it pulled up here.
60.
It's like 68 to 72, I think, is kind of where he says the sweet spot is, or 74. 68 to 75. Okay. And so his thesis is that that OPEC's going to do what it can to keep the price right there, and it seems to be that's what they're doing. It's kind of hard to argue with his logic right now.
No, I agree. All right. That's it for the oil process. So let's move over here to this renewable diesel. Ryan, we hadn't chatted about the renewable diesel, obviously, for other concerns, but are you clued up on this one? This was something that I was trying to get educated on here over the last week or so, but just so our listeners and followers out there kind of understand what I'm talking about. This is a type of biodiesel that's produced through various processes, but because it's chemically similar to crude-based diesel, the refineries can easily be converted over to process it. But both the Marathon refinery in Martinez, California, and the Phillips 66 refinery in Rodeo, California, are two of the ones that are being converted and kind of will be in full swing, production between 22 and 24. So with that kind of on the table, do you think that will have a large impact on demand once this method becomes widely adopted? What's your thoughts?
I don't think it'll be widely adopted. Do you?
Well, considering if you look at surplus transport U.S. stateside, do you think they're going to pay to have biodiesel in their vehicles? I don't know. Do you think our marine traffic is not going to do it? They're running low sulfur now. They just paid to have everything converted over to low sulfur. So I don't see them jumping on biodiesel or renewable diesel anytime soon. So anyway, that's my take. So.
I don't. It seems like it's one of those things that we're promoting. And I'm not a biodiesel expert, as I said a minute ago. You have to watch these things because it feels like there's a lot of this stuff that is really subsidies for farmers more than it is actually what the market wants. And so that would be my question here: is it really more of a farmer subsidy than anything else?
I mean, you're right. It could be. I mean, it's but again, if they're putting an amount of money into, okay, so let me back up just a little bit. So this refinery in Martinez, California, Marathon refinery, was previously shut down, right? And so they're starting it back up, but converting it over to biodiesel. So maybe it's just a way to squeeze the market a little bit. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so
get an extra dollar out of it.
Possibly, but think about it like this: who asks for ethanol in their gasoline? The answer is literally no one.
No.
There was no one going, I need my gasoline, I need ethanol, right? Yes. No one was saying that. And so that's just a government, whether you like ethanol in your gas or not, it's a separate issue, but that's a government subsidy to help farmers. Like that's really the basis of it more than anything else. So whatever environmental thing you want to say or anything else, it is a subsidy for the farmers. And
at the end of the day, when you pull up there, if you reverse if right now, if they reverse the buttons on the pump, everybody would start getting the 97 grade, right? So you should. I mean, everybody's already knows this from the left to the right. So if you roll up in there and they swap the buttons around, half the people don't read the buttons.
That's right.
They just slam that first button. The label can be gone because people hitting it with the pump handle. So I mean, it's not even can't even be anything there. People would still hit that same button.
That's exactly right.
They're definitely not reading the small writing up top on the label.
That's right.
It's just not. And even when you open up the gas cap of your vehicle, it's right there inside your gas cap.
That's right.
So I mean, again, the small print. Are people paying attention? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, it's just a thing where in Louisiana, and I've seen it a couple of times. Exist not as often. Gas stations will advertise ethanol-free gas because I know people with boats. Like they swear that ethanol clogs up their motors. Like they are pretty hardened about that. So the smaller engines, I think there's a pretty big contingency of folks who think that ethanol is bad for it. I don't have it on.
I'm the same. I'm not a chemical engineer, so I don't know what ethanol does to an engine, but I do know that the the amount of money that people put into maintenance for larger size operations is massive.
Yeah.
That money, those 25,000 and those 50,000 hour services are on these big engines are something else, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Just a real quick blip here on the rig counts. Rig counts are up, highest they've been internationally, as well as domestically. But it's the highest they've been since July of last year. Of course, that's not we say they're high, but it's not saying much off the previous years. But
Pretty much, yeah, last year's a pretty low bar.
Yeah. So I mean, July last year was the bar set, and we're higher than that. So I consider that a win. But some of the international driven places are Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, Latin America. Another hot spot, strangely enough, Norway. Since January, they've picked up 5 rigs offshore. So spoke with a contact a few weeks ago, and they said they couldn't get rigs in fast enough to put them to work. So
Really?
it looks dreary in some other parts of the world, but man, there's hot spots still straight up looking for rigs and looking for people to go to work. So it's not stopping. None.
Where were these rigs at you're saying that they're looking for?
So this was the drivers for some of these are in Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, and Norway. That's your 4 biggest hotspots here.
Yeah, you're not hearing that in the U.S. That's the thing. I mean, you're hearing that some, but not in the U.S. It's funny people are paying to drill everywhere else but here.
Yeah, I think nobody wants to get stuck in the political mucky muck, but yeah,
exactly.
All right, we out of the drilling business there, and we will go on over here to our little sports that we're gonna just talk briefly about.
I need to look it up. Is it soon?
This one is, oh man, I think it's August.
Okay, let me
here. But we talked about we've talked about with Jake and Logan some of the stuff they have on the go. Master promoters, we've said that multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But looks like Jake here's next run up is Tyron Woodley. I personally think Tyron will be probably the best one as far as his skills that he's come up against in his short career, if you want to call it that. But I think during the Tyson Jones fight, there was an alteration. Let's just go on and sew that up. There was an altercation with Jake's team and maybe even Jake himself, and then Tyron Woodley backstage. But or that's what I heard anyway. But now there's some details of the contract that were made public, and this includes an automatic rematch clause. So Ryan, my money here is on Woodley without a doubt. I've been wrong multiple times here with Jake, but actually a lot, actually every one of them. So I think I will probably have to stick with the veteran here. So,
I think if you go watch Tyron's last fight, the complaint going into there was that he was not really fighting. Like you go back and watch the handful of his last fights, he wasn't really doing much. In his last fight, to his credit, he went in there and he fought hard and he got knocked out. And the knockout's bad, it's embarrassing, but at least at least the narrative had shifted from I feel like he's just kind of shell shocked to okay, he's back to fighting. I say that to say that Woodley's right hand can flatline Jake Paul, Ryan Ray, anyone else that me and you know, or any 170 pounder. Now, Jake Paul, though, the only thing that he's got going for him in this case is that he's a big guy. He's big. I mean, he's not a little cat. He's 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, he's a pretty good sized kid.
He is. He's 6'1". Okay, so he's a big guy. Woodley can knock him out, but he's still a big guy. So Woodley's gonna be swinging. So the question is, does Woodley, because he's built up all his pressure, go in there? Jake catches him, lights out again, or does Woodley do what he should be able to do, which is outbox him and then eventually put him to sleep? I don't know what Woodley we're going to get. Now, if we get the old Woodley, who's just kind of going in there to shell shock, not doing much, he's going to get beat. So you have to get the better Woodley, the Woodley that came in the last fight, but he can't be too aggressive because Jake does have power in his hands. What everyone say, he's got power in his hands. And so is it legit boxing power? I don't know. He did knock out Ben Askren though, and Ben Askren's been hit by real punchers before. So, these guys.
I mean, there's. I- I'm not a doctor nor am I a brain surgeon, but I feel like when you take that first knockout and you go to sleep, I think the clock's ticking on you. So, I mean, you can only take so many punches to the head. I mean, it's no, and everybody has some kind of card with hole punches in it. And
Yep.
it's not, and you don't get unlimited free car washes at every fill up here with that. So, I mean, you're going to get knocked out, and it's going to become, a normal thing for you to get knocked out over and over and over if you stay in it. I mean,
Yeah, so I wondered about that. I tend to think that your theory is right, right?
Yeah.
If you go watch Chuck Liddell's career, beginning he could take a punch, at the end he was getting touched on the chin and he couldn't do anything. So the question that I have lingering in the back is it that the chin is shot? That could be it, A. Or is it that the chin is shot, but the older you get, you're just not as good, and so you're actually taking just harder punches from better guys, and that plays into it as well. So I think it's kind of probably a little bit of a combination there. But Woodley's chin has generally been pretty good. But listen, Jake Paul, any man who is 6'1" and can throw a punch, and when I say throw a punch, I mean throw an arm.
Yeah.
I mean, knows how to throw a punch. There's a way to throw a punch. Can knock out just about any human. Like that's just the way it is. If you're
right.
3, you probably can't. If you're 6 foot, 6'1", you get that 5'10", 6'1" range. You get that, and you get some weight on you. If you know how to throw a punch, you connect the right spot. People just go to sleep. So Jake Paul, he is training boxing.
That's one of those straight line kind of. It's almost like when you're laying down straight on a deer and you're 100 yards out, you just get a straight line shot. I guess at that 5'10" to 6 foot level.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so it doesn't mean that everyone hits with the same amount of force or any of that kind of stuff. But there is a threshold that you kind of hit, and some guys can knock out. You get knocked out. Now, will Jake Paul win or not? I don't know. I'll probably there's a tattoo on the line here though. You know that, right?
No.
Yeah, there's a tattoo that says proclaiming their love for the winner. I don't know if it's their name or they lost to, but the loser has to get the other person something tatted on their body.
My God.
Okay, yeah. So it'll say the loser has to get "I love you" either Tyron Woodley or Jake Paul.
Jesus, man.
Let me tell you something. The
That's
pressure.
That's
Pressure for that. That's a lot of pressure.
That's a straight up an episode of ridiculousness right there. Just that one tattoo being put on that, whichever one of the loser is.
Now, I don't know if they agreed to where it has to be in the body.
It'll end up being on the Impulsive show, Logan Paul's podcast. So
I can tell you, if I was going to do that, where it'd be at. Any guesses?
The bottom of my foot.
Exactly. That's exactly the bottom of the foot. The bottom of the foot.
Do you think they're getting to choose where they're going to stick it at?
I don't know. I wondered if they.
Maybe like sitting right on the forehead.
Oh no, they ain't got that kind of money.
Backwards. So you have to look at it right in the mirror every day.
Oh yeah. That would be brutal.
Speaking of Logan, did you hear the rumor he was going with Anderson Silva, or trying to in September? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So that's
Anderson has beat Chavez Jr., didn't he? It wasn't his fault.
Oh, I'd have to look back.
He just beat.
So this one. So I just heard this one. It was like I see 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Yeah.
So Anderson just beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., right? That's who he just beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I'd probably still put money on Silva. So.
Yeah, he just beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like he just beat a legit. Where's his?
Hey, these Paul brothers are not going away.
No, they're not going away. And listen,
they're gonna be around until people start putting them to sleep professionally.
Yeah, he beat Anderson Silva Anderson Silva just beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a legit boxing match on June 19th. He beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., to be clear, has 52 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw, or no contest. I don't know which one that is.
That's pretty close to Floyd Mayweather, then, ain't it?
34 of his wins are by knockout.
Wow.
So this is a legit champion level boxer. I don't know how many times he was champion. He's 35 years old. He's younger than Silva. See here,
Silva just went in there in beast mode, huh?
He outboxed him, yeah. So he held the WBC middleweight title from 2011 to 2012. I mean, his dad was the Julio Cesar Chavez, obviously. So I mean, it's like a legit box. So if the Paul boy wants some of Anderson, unless Anderson just starts clowning and gets knocked out from clowning, Anderson's going to put it on him because Anderson just beat a legit boxer, a legit 52 win boxer. You don't get 52 wins in boxing without being really good.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen.
And that was what I was thinking, is there'd be a clause in there that you have to fight my little brother after you beat him, right? And then Jake Paul come along and knock his chin off. But hey, at the end of the day, man, it's still good entertainment when you watch them fight. So, and I mean, people can say what they want to about it, but there's been a small rebirth here with these boys in boxing. So they've created a whole nother line of event undertaking.
Listen,
they can get out there. If you can drum up support and get out there and put you together some kind of promotion deal, you can just about get out there and do it now.
Listen,
and so they're proving it's possible.
Yes. If me and you, if our show blew up and it was had the kind of following that Jake and Logan Paul had, right? There's all kinds of offers that would come our way.
Sure.
And we would take some of them and some we wouldn't. And I don't know if I'm gonna go there and box Tyron Woodley, but it might be some kind of crazy thing that we're like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Because they're in the promotion, the show, they're in show business. They're in show business. Okay? Exactly. And if they want to prove that they're tough guys and they want to get there and box, fine. I mean, you're paid. So I don't, I think
these guys are dollar sign orientated.
And who cares?
If whatever, no, that's it. If it makes money, they do it. It doesn't. There's no line. If you've ever watched any of their media from a few years ago, you would understand that there is no line that they won't cross. These guys, they're in everything they can get their hands in. So it doesn't matter if it's they're basically this generation's group of jackasses is what they are. So they would do anything and everything. It didn't ever matter. But again, if it's got a dollar sign on it, them boys they're attached to it. So
this is actually risky, right? You can get hurt. And so listen, as long as people are going to pay for it, they're going to do it. And it's just as simple as that. If you quit paying for it, they'll quit doing it.
Exactly. And that goes for any large sporting event.
Yeah.
In any large organization. So,
exactly.
I mean, they're only in there for one reason. That's entertainment.
Yep.
If they didn't have cameras, do you think they'd be in there knocking each other's face off? No.
They
wouldn't be in there doing it for free. That's for sure.
Exactly.
All right. Ryan, this was one I didn't know even actually existed. I mean, I think I was 10 years old when this came out, but this is the USFL relaunch. So
I saw it in the show notes. I didn't know what was happening either till you sent it over. That's crazy.
Again, like I said, I never caught this back in the day. I'm assuming it was a good time to do it on the heels of Dwayne Johnson and buying out XFL. But after 4 decades, so that had been mid 80s, they're going to give it another try and have another go at it here. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's better this time. So, like I said, I was like 10, so I wouldn't have seen nor heard about it, but looks like they're coming in. Oh, whoa, check it out. XFL.
That's my roughneck hat.
That's it, Roughnecks.
Yes, diehard, lifelong Roughnecks fan.
So that might be worth something later on.
I have been a Roughnecks fan for longer than they've been a team.
So there looks like this gig here, they're going to have 8 teams, and they're planning for a spring 2022 kickoff. So
What is the deal with the XFL? Are we going to get some football back out of those guys?
I don't know.
The Roughnecks were robbed. That was the greatest team in the history of football. They were undefeated. They were on a roll. They were going to take the crown, bring it back down to H-Town. They would have been lauded as champions, and COVID just wrecked their world. Oh,
COVID wrecked a lot of stuff.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
This
Long live the XFL. Let's see here. Houston will have here it is. When the XFL suspended, let's see here. I'm trying to see when they're coming back. I don't know. I had to find it because I'm ready for the Roughnecks to come back. Oh, it's coming back in 2023. 2023. Oh man. Okay. So
one of the reasons for the USFL, I didn't read that until just now. When they launched in '83, they crumbled up after 3 seasons because of an out of control spending and an ill-conceived push led by Trump, owner of the New Jersey Generals, to compete directly against the NFL with a fall season. Competing against the NFL in the 80s?
Yeah, that'd been rough.
That's probably wasn't a good idea.
No.
You could probably do it better now. It's probably a good idea while they're relaunching it. They could probably get some kind of television off of it. But hey, I didn't read it just now, but I just thought it was funny that ill-conceived push led by Trump. It's ESPN. All right. So maybe they have better success this go around. And Ryan, we'll talk about, let's see here. See if I can drag it on over there. Dude.
Man, look at that.
Man, we had a time.
How many people went with you?
With these fish. There was about 30 of us.
Oh, okay. I about to say you only get like 3 a person, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so we caught our limit on snapper.
Uh-huh.
So that was 2 of us each.
2.
And this is my 17-year-old son Sean.
Awesome.
He just had his 17th birthday here last month. But so we grabbed up 4 snappers, and he was lucky enough to grab in 2 smaller vermilions there about the last 5 minutes of our last spot we were at. So
awesome.
He snatched those out of the water super quick. But man, the juvenile. Okay, so I'm obviously not a deep sea fisherman by trade, although I would like to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
It more fun than some other things I do in my life, which is everything. But the way they have this set up, man, these guys are super great guys. I mean, it's we went with the Galveston party boat side of it, so the crew's great. They don't mess around, man. When it comes to fishing, they own it. They're family orientated. They got a nice grill on board. I personally wouldn't suggest any smaller children be on it because you'd have to put them in a backpack to keep up with them on the boat. But teenagers and up, man, they'll have a great time. So if anybody's out there that's local to the Houston area or even anywhere on the Gulf Coast, go check them out. They're Galveston Party Boats Inc. That's GalvestonPartyBoatsInc.com. They stay booked up, so get in there and get you some dates. I think they stay booked up a month out. So anyway, yeah.
Awesome, man. Glad you had a good time.
That's our we ended up with like 8 gallons out of it.
Wow.
8 gallons of it. So it was a good time.
Awesome. That's awesome, man.
And speaking of the other event, some pop culture stuff, we made it to Comicpalooza last weekend. We spent that whole Saturday out there, man.
Where was it?
Yeah, it was. So this was its first year back in Houston since the pandemic. It was slightly smaller venue. If anyone's ever been to the Brown Convention Center before, then you'll understand what I'm saying. But normally, all the floors in Brown were booked up with Comicpalooza. This time, floor 3 had no event or no action happening on it. So, what was a little bit more kind of downgraded this year was. It was actually completely missing was the huge, massive groups of multiplayer online gaming. So the last time we went, that would have been 3 years ago. There was a whole, I think it was floor 2, half of floor 2 was nothing but these massive areas where all this multiplayer gaming action was happening, right? So all of that was gone. So I'm not sure what happened to those guys, but hey, the boys got in. We got in. I guess that would have been about 9:30 or 10 o'clock that morning, and spent the whole day out there. We one of the kind of high points of the day. We got in and was able to kind of meet Danny Trejo, and here's my youngest one at the mic asking Danny some questions. So,
oh yeah, what do you ask him?
It's got to be the last one because I got to clear the hall for the next panel. But I would like to ask if you are working on any series or movies that you're working on that you would like to tell us about. What do you have coming up?
Well, I did it's not a secret. It was supposed to be a secret, but it got out. It was called American Horror Story.
Oh, you're an American Horror Story. Are you an American Horror Stories or American Horror Story?
I don't know.
You know.
I was in the mall. It was supposed to be a secret, and I'm in a mall. And they were, oh my God, he's gonna be in it. Well, secret's out. And Big City Greens and SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants the movie.
Okay.
He looks just like you.
Thanks, man. So yeah, Danny's cool. He one thing about him, man. The guy's 77 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's died on screen over 400 times.
Oh,
So
really?
he's got his character has died more on screen, or any of his personalities have died more on screen than anyone else in show business, right?
Wow.
So he's 77 years old, man, and he was there until the last fan walked away.
Wow.
I mean,
he's only
he was
5'6". That's what's crazy.
Yeah, but he's
You'd think in
he
movies
was
he'd
great.
be big.
No, he was great, man. He was great. We also got to catch up with Carl Weathers.
Oh, Carl.
So that was so we sat around here and we talked, and which guys do we want to go check out and talk to, and Carl was my pick, right? Obviously because of the stuff with Rocky and growing back up in the day, and then Predator and everything else. So as well as Mandalorian. So yeah. So, and the last guy on the list was obviously our bad guy from Mandalorian, but we met Moff Gideon.
Oh wow! Oh,
so Giancarlo Esposito, he's also a great guy. Even Carl being 74 years old, man. Listen, dude, that handshake,
solid.
It's still, it's solid, man. It's like, yeah, I'm Carl Weathers. Like, look at me, I'm best believe it, And I mean, the guy's healthy, good shape. I mean, you don't even, he must stay in the gym every day of the week. But
wow.
But yeah, man. So again, it was a good time. If anybody gets a chance to catch any of those events, the kind of the photo op actor kind of meeting thing was loosely organized. I don't know if it was just because they had maybe a year off or whatever, but it didn't seem like it was as in tune as some of the last ones, because we were running, I guess, about an hour and a half behind on the timings. But it was a good time.
Awesome, man. That looks like fun.
It was a good time.
Looks like fun. I'm glad
keeping up with the pop culture there. We're just going to talk about this one real quick. Who could have actually beaten Thanos, Ryan? So it came out with Screen Rant came out with it a couple of weeks back, but I kind of found it
other than me and you.
They wanted to shit in the Paul brothers, but it took we know. I mean, I'm a fan, but it took legions of heroes to beat out Thanos, right? So the storyline. But I'd always said that if Scarlet Witch had been left,
oh yeah,
if they hadn't touched her, she would have took him out right there. It would have been it would have been an old. She would have been. There would have been a puddle left before Iron Man could get his hands on it. But anyway, so the interesting enough, they're talking about the MCU Phase 4 characters and how 6 of them would have certainly give him a challenge. So, Ryan, have you seen some of the Phase 4 characters?
No, I've really kind of checked out on the MCU, man.
Have you?
Yeah. So, do you want to get
Oh,
into this?
dude.
Do we want to get into this? Do we want to?
Why'd you check out on MCU, man? Yeah, you can get into it.
You
I'm
know,
all right.
I'll be honest.
Next thing we're talking about is duct tapes and helicopters, bro. So this is the highlight of the show, man.
So what happened was I was pretty, I wasn't going to get into the comic book movies because when I was a kid, they weren't really cool. Like they weren't good. They just weren't cool and they weren't good. And I can't remember if I watched Thor or Captain America first, but they were on Netflix. So it was after they've been out in the theaters and
Sure.
and I watched one of them. I was like, oh, that's really good. And so then I watched Thor or Captain America, whatever. I watched the first one and I was like, okay, I was hooked. Boom, I was in. All right. So I'm in. Then the Avengers comes out. It's awesome. So I'm in pretty hardcore. Like I'm ready to roll. And then when it started to change for me was the second Avengers, the Age of Ultron. Because if you go back and kind of watch those trailers, that movie, like Ultron was supposed to be like the whole, they had the No Strings on Me music playing. It was just like, here comes this super crazy villain. And he really wasn't. He was kind of a letdown. And that was just kind of the beginning of
Ultron, the Ultra letdown.
the Ultron letdown. Exactly. That was just kind of the beginning of the end. It was like, not too sure about all this. And so I haven't seen Doctor Strange. I haven't seen Black Panther. I haven't seen Captain Marvel. And so I thought the third and fourth Avengers weren't very good either. So the Infinity War and Endgame, I thought I didn't think either one of them were that
You
good.
didn't care for the end game.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Now the scene at the end where all of the heroes come through the
But you
portal.
will watch a whole animated season.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Let me. Yes,
I'm sorry that CGI is not better than animation. It takes a lot of work for both sides of it.
Well, I mean, okay, so the whole Thanos thing just didn't work for me, and here's why. You're bringing back like all this old memories here. So
Look, man, if did you okay? So before you go into Thanos, did you watch Loki?
No, I haven't watched Loki.
If you watch Loki on Disney Plus, that basically ruins the whole everything. It does. It wipes out the entire idea and thought of any kind of hero, superhero, villain, whatever. So it was if you catch it, good. If you don't, it's good too. But yeah, I mean,
I've thought about it. I might watch it. I don't know, but so okay. Go back to the Infinity War.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning of the movie, you have Thanos again. Here it is. Thanos is so bad that he beats the Hulk into submission. Like, it's like, oh, here we go. Here is the villain. Like, I was locked in Infinity War. And then I'm trying to think what happened. Something happened, and it was like, it went from, you had Scarlet Witch and Vision. They're both getting wrecked. The heroes are getting wrecked here.
Yes.
They're setting it up to be like, oh, this is not going to end well. And I'm trying to think what happens in the movie. Something happens where it goes from these guys are untouchable to, oh, they're actually pretty defeatable. And it's like, it was a pretty startling switch. And I can't remember. Oh, I know what it was. So you have Scarlet Witch and Vision on the run who are getting wrecked, right?
Yeah. Running across the roof, getting slung off the building. Yeah.
Okay, and then you have Falcon and Black Widow, two people who have no superhuman abilities. Defeat them. They have no superhuman abilities. They're the Batman and Batwoman of the MCU, and these godlike creatures who wrecked Vision and Scarlet Witch all of a sudden are getting wrecked by Falcon and Black Widow. No, I will not stand for this.
You mean Hawkeye and Black Widow.
Hawkeye was there too, I think.
Yeah.
It's like these are the characters who don't have powers, and these people have wrecked.
They have to make it. They have to make it to where it connects with normal people, though. I mean, I get
No,
it.
no.
It's a little bit backwards, but yeah, I mean, I get it.
At least have Captain America do him in pretty hard. But
He was on the run.
He
was hiding from he was hiding for the Accord. He was still
so,
on the run, man.
So I was in pretty hard on Infinity War. And it's like we went from these people are untouchable, can't be stopped, to Falcon and Black Widow have now stopped them and killed one of them, I think. It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
never mind. If Falcon and Black Widow can kill him, anyone can kill him. You can kill him. I can kill him. The Paul brothers can kill him. Anyone, okay? Sorry.
The Paul brothers can kill.
The Paul brothers can kill him.
The Paul brothers
Anyone can kill him.
Well,
So,
just between me and you, I can't shoot or a gun or an arrow like Hawkeye or Black Widow, either one. I did watch Black Widow. It was good.
was it good? I hadn't seen it.
No, it was ace, man. That was ace. I've always been a Marvel fan, and my Marvel fan day started, way before even the first X-Men movie came out. So, I mean, I'm full on X-Force. I'm full on everything to do with Xavier and the X-Men and the whole 9 yards.
You're Teenage Titans too, aren't you?
I am, and that has absolutely zero to do with anything I was just discussing.
I know, but you've been
right
picking
here,
on me Clone Wars, so I had.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'll take that jab. But hey, you know what? If you go catch Titans on Netflix, it's a pretty good. So that would be their second.
I want to watch it.
It's their second season now, or their third season. Anyway, I watched their first season and half of the second season, so I would suggest watching it. It gives you a different spin on what Ryan is candidly having a go at me here about Teenage Titans, but hey, it's not animated. So anyway,
what is it?
I watched one animated movie. He watched.
What is it? What is Teenage Titans?
Whole season. You watched the whole season.
7 seasons. Watch your mouth. 7 seasons. 7.
Okay. Well, that escalates the you won.
I'm just saying.
You win. I watched one. All right. So mine, I did watch it in the theater. That's probably a little worse than watching it at home. But
yeah.
Anyway, personally, Ryan, I cannot wait for Boba to come back. It's still December.
Yeah, that's December. Just right around the corner. Around the corner.
But anyway, there was to cut this one out, but there was 4 characters that the MCU is bringing out in Phase 4 that could smoke Thanos. So thanks for that, MCU.
Yeah, so you made him so bad that our guys lost 5 years of their life and all this stuff, and now you've got people who can just smoke him. Yeah, that makes sense.
But one interesting one is this fella here called Gore the God Butcher. So this guy travels the universe looking for gods to eliminate. So what better character to have roaming in the background than this guy? Just with his big axe out here, just waiting. Actually didn't know he even existed until now. He is an alien warlord looking to purge the universe of all of its gods. Then what? Then what happens when you just create another one, I guess. Again, I can't wait for Boba Fett. I'm just ready. All right, on to our next one, Ryan. So this 31-year-old pilot, Alexander Nazarov, got in a little trouble there in Russia. So he is on the list of people. I'm sure that's probably not a small list in Russia, but he made it on this list. This one was kind of a unique reason he made it onto this list. But he decided to take a flight, because he is a helicopter pilot. His job, but this time he had 21-year-old Mikhail Litvin duct taped.
Wow.
Duct taped.
Wow.
To the bottom of it.
That's aggressive.
You can see him here smiling on the screen.
That's aggressive.
Like he's smiling. Like no cares given. Just no, none. How much duct tape do you think that took? Look at him.
It's not as much as it would have taken for me and you to be taped to the helicopter. I know that. Beyond that, I don't know. That's a lot of duct tape. Dude,
that's a lot of duct tape.
That's a lot of duct tape. 10 rolls.
When is enough? Do you just like lay there and say like, yeah, that's good, you can stop? I mean, or would you? would you not just leave this guy going with the roll for hours and hours and hours?
Yeah,
when's
I would.
enough?
Yeah, we're gonna.
How do
have
you
about
test
3 or
that?
4
Is there
yeah.
a test that you do? How much duct tape's enough to keep you on a
I don't know.
helicopter?
I don't know. I mean, how many times can a roll go around a helicopter?
Well, if it's me, not many. But I mean, if it's
Me too. That's what I'm thinking. Like, can you even get the roll around one time with my gut the way? I don't know.
that's not your gut, man. It's your head.
Oh well, that.
But you get. I mean, for me, I mean, possibly may have to run it out. But what's wrong with just hang gliding? I mean, these days, it's just why. What is it? Because it's not duct tape to a bottom of a helicopter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hang gliders. This are you? But hang gliding. If I'm correct here, aren't you on the bottom of something that flies, right? So this is not what it's meant to do.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't listen. I don't get it at all.
You can see his buddy hanging here out the window.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. It's I don't understand it. So.
Oh, it gets better too. So the pilot is actually ex-military.
Oh yeah, well, obviously that makes sense. That makes sense.
Look at this guy.
Oh gracious!
I can't imagine someone waiting on the ground for you to land, and you got the sirens there, and it's like, oh, you're not Logan Paul. Okay, you're going to jail, right? So,
yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
oh man, that was a good one. A little bit long, but I appreciated it. It was great.
Well, it was good to get back, man.
Man, it's always a good time. Always a good time.
Absolutely.
So what are your schedule looking like next week, man? You good to go? Good to go?
10 o'clock, back to normal time next week, right?
Absolutely. Back
Let's
to normal time. Well, everyone, that's all for this week. Again, you can catch Ryan and I on any recap here on our lives or reruns or animated droid series, or you can catch us on the podcast on anywhere you listen to a podcast at. So that's all for us this week. I'm Greg with Lynx, and that is Ryan with War Room Media. And thanks for joining us this week for another episode of Overtime. Hopefully we can be back next week.
See y'all.
Woo! Thanks. You've been watching Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media. Your hosts have been Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. For sponsorship opportunities, send us an email at info@riglynx.com. Tune in next Thursday at 10 a.m. CST for another live episode.